Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Angelic Astrologer and Spiritual Consultant with AngelMessenger.net, and I want to do a Soul Reflections video for you for the year 2015. This is going to be a much different year than it was last year, and I'm sure a lot of you, including myself, are very happy to hear that. 2014, if we can just quickly sum that up, was a universal 7-year. And with that number 7, it was about going within. It was about quiet time, solitude. It was about emotional purging, energetic purging. It was a year to where we withdrew our energies somewhat, and the purpose of that withdrawing of energies was so that we could find our own inner light. It was so that we could find our true selves and understand our true nature on a deep spiritual level. It was so that we could connect with our higher soul selves, which is actually connecting with our God essence, our God selves. And this is why we had to go through so much purging in the year 2014. We were purging out old ideas, thoughts, belief systems, old energies from this and previous lifetimes that we no longer needed to hold on to. And that went really well with Saturn being in Scorpio, because of course Saturn is that planet that was all about karmic lessons, and it was in the sign of Scorpio all year in 2014 until the very end in December. And Scorpio is about our sense of power, our empowerment issues. And now that we've moved into 2015, we have a completely different energy. From a numerology standpoint, we are in a universal 8-year. And that 8 vibration is going to be a lot different than the 7 vibration of 2014. The 8 vibration, when we look at it from a third dimensional standpoint, or an everyday standpoint, if you will, it's about focusing on energies of career and money and finance, our destiny path, who we are out in the world, how people see us out in the world as far as what we're here to do. And the number 8 is also about power. And a lot of times when we're in an 8-year on a personal level, it deals with power and control issues. But the higher aspect of that is talking about our own sense of power. So in 2015, we're all in that universal energy, and we're all trying to find our own sense of power. It's about finding that power, stepping into that power, owning that power. It's about integrating that spiritual power within us and realizing that we are a very powerful spiritual being with the abilities to create and co-create with God's source energies our life and our path. Now, since this is a universal 8-year, there may be, on a collective level or on a global level, issues of power, hence maybe some power and control. Now, this is logical because of the power structure that we live in, and it's been a long time in coming that we're trying to bring in a sense of balance to that power structure, or to who has the power, versus who doesn't have the power, because we all are equal beings on a spiritual level, and we all deserve to be treated with respect and equality. So I feel that this year of 2015 we're going to be experiencing more of the power structures on the planet and where there is an imbalance or an inequality going on. And it's going to be about bringing that back into balance. Now, I want to go a little bit further with that 8 universal energy and liken it to the tarot. Just as we did with 2014 being a 7 universal year, again, the 7th major arcana, just reflecting back to 2014, is the Chariot card. And the Chariot card is signified by a man in a chariot being pulled by 2 horses. but the two horses are kind of going in different directions or trying to pull in different directions. And so it was about an internal struggle last year, which we all can really relate to. An internal struggle, consciousness versus unconsciousness, or our our subconscious versus our conscious. Also on a global level, again, there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes or underneath, which I feel was that kind of pulling in two directions, again, on a global level. We have a lot of things going on behind the scenes that we as a people are not necessarily completely aware of. So there was a lot of pulling in opposite directions that were going on as we were trying to pull things together. The Chariot card is about trying to pull the opposing energies together so that we can all move forward, and that's what we were trying to do. Now again, fast forwarding to 2015, where we're at now, and looking at the tarot card, and which tarot card the 8 numerological vibration vibrates to. This is one area to where, with that 8th major arcana, there's 2 different thoughts on that. Some tarot decks list the 8th major arcana as the Strength card, and some tarot decks list the 8th major arcana as the Justice card. Now, I did a little bit of research, and I can see the argument for both here when we are talking about the energies, the universal energies of 2015. When we look at the Strength card in the major arcana, in the tarot, this is ruled by the sign of Leo, and Leo is about confidence, and it is about creative power, and it's also about power through gentle strength. Now, if you think about the Strength card, it's ruled again by Leo, and Leo is ruled by the lion. Okay, we have the lion. So if you think about the lion can be quite ferocious. It can be a fierce animal when provoked. But also a lion is very gentle and loving. You know, it's just like a big cat. And it can just roll over and nuzzle you and just love you. And this is what that number 8 signifies as far as the Strength card is concerned. It's about, again, owning our power, stepping into our power, and using it in a very gentle and creative way. To not use brute force or to not try to overpower or misuse our power, but to use it in a balanced way, a gentle way, and that's going to bring about the greatest benefits is when we use that in that balanced way. Now, the Strength card also relates to desire. You know, what do you desire in this year of 2015? What do you desire to create? What do you desire to do? What path do you desire to follow? This also relates to the Kundalini energy, which is the creative life force energy. So again, it goes back to creation. Our sense as co-creators to create our path and to create the way we want our planet to be on a large scale. So again, courage, self-confidence. It's about our inner resources. And again, going back to that number 8 being a power number. The number 8 is a number of power. But again, on a spiritual level, it's about self-empowerment. Empowering yourself to do the right thing, the thing that's best for you, and the thing that's best for all concerned as well. You know, it's about thinking about not just yourself, but other people as well. Now, if we look at the symbology of the Justice card in relation to those decks that hold the Justice card as the 8th major arcana, this is about balance and justice, just like the card says. In the symbology of the Justice card, we have usually a woman holding a sword in one hand and the scales of justice in another hand. And the sword can be seen as a masculine energy, a masculine symbol. And the scales are considered a feminine symbol. Now, of course, justice and the scales are ruled by the sign of Libra. Okay, and Libra is all about balance again. balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. Now think about the number 8 for a minute, because we've been talking about 2015 being an 8 universal year. If you take the number 8 and you shift the number 8 to its side, we have an infinity symbol, okay? So instead of the number 8 like this, it's the number 8 like this, the infinity symbol. And what is that? It's, again, balancing divine masculine and divine feminine energies. Or think about that infinity symbol as, again, the scales of justice, being in balance. So it's truly about honesty and truth and using sound judgment. And the scales of justice here with the Justice card, I feel like this is the karmic scales of justice. So again, in this year 2015, on a more collective level or global level, is dealing with balancing out the karmic scales, okay? The power on the planet has been in a state of imbalance. You know, we have the few having all the power and the money and the resources, and then we have the many that do not have that, you know, or have little of that. And so again, on a collective and global level, I feel like this is a year to where we're going to be balancing out those karmic scales of justice. But what is that going to take? That is going to take you standing in your truth. It's going to take you standing in your power, owning your power. And again, not in a forceful way or a harsh way, but standing in your power in a way that you know that you are a spiritual being and that we are all interconnected on the planet. We all deserve equality, and we all deserve respect, and we all deserve to have a similar experience as far as the resources on the planet, or even with love. So things tangible and what we might consider intangible, okay? Honesty, respect, love, as well as our careers and our financial state. And again, you know, in the state of power on the planet, it needs to be in a more equal place. So this is what I feel from that numerology standpoint, the year 2015 is about. Now, on a Chinese New Year level, and I want to briefly mention this, because last year we talked about 2014 being the year of the horse. Now, the Chinese New Year starts in February. So when we went into the Chinese New Year of the horse in 2014, again, the horse is a very strong and masculine energy, and it wants to just run hard and fast and gallop away and move towards its destiny and you know, create what it wants to create. It's a vibrant energy. But we were in that 7 universal year, which kind of, I don't want to say held it back, but it kind of slowed it down a little bit, okay? So you might have felt that, to where you were wanting to go forward hard and fast, but you were being slowed down a little bit, and your energies were being pulled within because of that 7 energy. Now, this Chinese New Year that we're going to be going into is going to be the year of the goat. Again, this happens February 19th is when it is going to switch. Okay, now the Chinese Year of the Goat is about peace and harmony and tranquility, and it's going to be about coming together, you know, using our resources with each other and coming together in faith to help to heal humanity. This is about joining forces to eliminate the injustices on the planet. Now, it's interesting because the horse was a strong energy last year, but the 7 vibration was more feminine and internal. Now we're going into a goat year, or some people call it the year of the sheep, which is a more feminine, gentle energy, but we're in a universal year of the number 8, which is more masculine and strong and powerful. So a good friend of mine, and I have to say thank you to Shay, who is someone very learned in Chinese astrology, and she offered me some information because of this difference in the horse versus the 7-year and the goat versus the 8-year, she said a lot of times with the switch into a new Chinese New Year, there is an overlap of the energies, especially when the energies are a particular way. And this is the case for this year, 2015. Because the horse from last year was such a strong animal, a strong energy, and we're now in an 8 universal year, even though technically the horse switches to the goat on February 19th, she says that influence of the horse energy is actually going to take us through and last in an overlapping way with the sheep until about April. So even though the sheep, or the goat, takes effect February 19th, again, there's going to be that overlap. And that actually brings us to the astrological part of looking at 2015, because our last Pluto-Uranus square, Pluto, the planet of power, transformation, transition, Pluto ruling power and control, Uranus being about change, redirection, freedom, breaking free of things that hold you back. Again, these two planets have been squaring each other, dancing with one another for a while now, bringing on a global and collective level a lot of change and transition on the planet, some of it being behind the scenes that most of us are unaware of. But now both planets are in what we call direct motion. They're both moving forward now. Uranus is starting to pick up speed because it just went to direct motion in December. And with this last Pluto-Uranus square being in March, March 16th to be exact, this is going to bring about the most powerful transitioning of energy, the most powerful transformations that we've gone through thus far. And it overlaps with that time period of the new Chinese year, to where the horse is still going to be influencing us until about April, but yet the goat kind of comes in peacefully and softly and in a harmonious way in February. And I feel like the first part of this year is going to be where we see the biggest changes, both, again, globally and, again, personally as well within us. Now, some of the other things to highlight as far as astrologically for 2015 that I think we should be aware of is that Saturn, which we had again in Scorpio for some time but is now in Sagittarius, it's actually going to go into retrograde motion on March 14th. So interesting, Saturn goes retrograde March 14th, and the last Pluto-Uranus square happens March 16th. So March is going to be a very powerful month. And I feel like we're even going to feel this as Saturn is slowing down in February and the Pluto and Uranus square is coming more exact and getting closer together in February. I feel like, again, February you're going to feel this as well. So February into March, especially March, very powerful. Then as Saturn is retrograde, it is going to go back into Scorpio for a short time. So again, we're going back to purging of disempowering energies from ourselves, from within us, as well as outside us in our external circumstances, situations that we're living in our lives, even relationships that may be disempowering. So when does that happen? Saturn goes back into Scorpio from June 14th until September 17th of 2015. So you're going to have that time period to do any little last bit of purging, releasing, and letting go of those disempowering energies. And then as of September 17th, Saturn moves back into Sagittarius for good, for quite a while. And then we're looking again now at karmic lessons dealing with truth and justice, because Sagittarius is about the truth. You know, what is the truth? What is the real truth? And Sagittarians are truth seekers. So we're going to have karmic situations and karmic issues dealing with truth, and in areas of education, religion, all things that are ruled by Sagittarius, long distance travel, the big vision, the big picture of where we want to go in life. Then also we have Saturn squaring Neptune throughout the year. Now, the time periods that it's closest, as far as what we call within orb of one another, is going to be February, March. So I want to look at the second half of February, first half of March. It's close, but it doesn't quite come together because this is when Saturn ends up going retrograde. And then it's going to come back together and become exact in November 2015, and going into December of 2015, it's still within orb. And then we actually have Saturn and Neptune still squaring each other May, June, July, August, and September of 2016. Now, what does this mean? I think Saturn squaring Neptune is going to be breaking through the illusions, okay? Neptune in Pisces is a very spiritual placement, but Neptune in Pisces can also be about illusion, things that we think are true that really aren't. And Saturn is a reality check. Saturn's going to come in and it's going to say, everything that you think is, well, I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of things that you think is really isn't. And I think this is when we're going to start to see the truth of what's been going on behind the scenes, or what's been kept from the masses on the planet as far as the truth. So get ready to kind of see what the reality really is. Jupiter goes direct on April 8th. Okay, right now Jupiter is in its retrograde motion. It's in the sign of Leo. It's very creative. It's expanding that creative self-expression, expanding that creativity. It stations at 12 degrees Leo on April 8th and then turns direct. So that's one major thing that's happening in 2015. I think, again, this is helping us to expand our creative power, going back to that creative power aspect. Now, Jupiter will actually make a sign change on August 11th, and that's going to be important too. As Jupiter moves into Virgo in August, I feel like it's interesting because Jupiter is about expansion and Virgo pays attention to the details. So Jupiter looks at the big picture, and again, Virgo is very detail-oriented, looking at the little things, the logical things, and how it all fits together. So these two different things, Jupiter and Virgo, don't really even seem to go together very well. But one thing that I do feel it will do for us is that Virgo is the sign of service to other people. It's the service and the help and the assistance that we give to other people. And I feel like Jupiter, because it's such a positive planet, it's a planet of abundance and good luck and prosperity and expansion, I feel like it's going to expand our sense as a people, as a humanity, to band together and help one another more, to really be of service to one another, because we want to. Because that's the way we should as spiritual souls and as human beings. That's the way we should be. So I really think you're going to see more of that, and that's probably going to be as a result of what happens earlier in the year with the Pluto-Uranus square and with the whole Saturn-Neptune thing and everything else. Then in September, Jupiter opposes Neptune, and that's also going to be an interesting time period because Neptune rules spiritual energy or spirituality or spiritual beliefs, and Jupiter can tend to rule religious beliefs. And so because they're opposing one another, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There might be some things going on with different religious organizations or how people view things, their belief systems, religious beliefs versus spiritual beliefs. So that'll be an interesting time period. And then also as we get to November of 2015, the nodes, the North Node and the South Node, they're in Libra and Aries right now. So there's been a lot of things dealing with relationships or self, which is an Aries thing, versus other people in your lives, or the partnerships and relationships in your life, which is a Libra thing. Now, the North and South Node will be moving out of Aries and Libra and moving into the sign of Virgo and Pisces. So there's going to be a shift of energy as far as past karmic energies versus where we need to go in the future, the next steps we need to take, again, as a humanity. So this is kind of a look at the year 2015 from different and varying perspectives, numerologically, astrologically, and from a tarot perspective. This is a little bit about how I see it. And I hope that, if nothing else, the one thing you get out of this is that this is going to be a year to where you really need to step into and own and feel comfortable with your own power as a spiritual being. And it's a year to self-empower. So it's all about self-empowerment this year, which I'm all about. I'm a Libra. I'm about the scales of justice. I want everything to be equal and fair and just. And I want all of you to feel empowered, like the beautiful, spiritual, wonderful beings that you are. I want you all to have prosperity and abundance and living your passion and being on your path and doing what you love to do. So I wish you all much love and light and many blessings for this year of 2015. I want to take this opportunity also to thank you. It's been a wonderful, creative, expansive journey for me, especially throughout last year. And with all of your love and support, it's just been, I can't even express, a wonderful, wonderful experience to have all of your support and your love and your positive comments and your energy helping to propel me on my path and what I'm here to do as a soul. So I'm very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And again, I send you all much love and light and many angel blessings. Namaste.